I really don't know. I cannot figure out what I'm going to be able to do next. And if I can start something, then that would be a new beginning, I guess, some kind of new business. Without that option, then it gets down to some sort of kind of survival existence where Social Security for the two of us would be enough that we wouldn't live here, we would live someplace poor and not have health insurance, and then we would be able to survive at that point, and that would be about it. And that would be not the cornmeal and water scenario, but pretty close. I mean, really an extremely limited income and no medical cushion, no net. My name is Michael McClatchey. I'm 63 years old. Yeah, I was born in Detroit and raised in Ann Arbor. I graduated from high school in Ann Arbor in '64 and went to the U of M for a few years. I didn't graduate. I then went into the rock and roll business and did that until the late '70s. And in 1981, I went to work for CBS, and I worked for them for 5 years, and then things developed from there. I got into computers when I was at CBS, into the mainframe, and then the personal computers came out after that, and I've been doing that ever since. So I've been working on the web since it came out, and working in computer technology mostly is what I do for a living. I got laid off 2 years ago, but I managed to land a part-time job with a client. And I felt like they kind of threw me a bone and took me on half-time to work in their IT department, which isn't really what I do, but they thought there would be some future with the web technology that they were into and that kind of thing. It was a very large foundation, national foundation. Then they decided to outsource their IT department. So it was one, and that was, I mean, it was a big thing from the economy. In other words, because the economy was bad, there was, from what I understood, pressure from the trustees to reduce the amount of money spent on administration, and the judgment was made that it would be, in the long term, it would be cheaper to outsource the IT department than to have the computers and the help desk and everything inside the building. So to me, it was an example of this kind of race for the bottom that you see, where the commercialization of services and a real kind of objectification of the employee, where, well, you just call the 800 number if you got a problem with your computer. Don't talk to us. It really seemed isolating to me. I didn't care for it at all, but that's what they wanted to do. So now I'm out of work for real, and this is I've been through month 4 of the unemployment. Right, no, this is month 4 of unemployment with 2 more to go, 2.5, whatever it is. And then I don't know. It's unknown at that point. My wife owns a small business, a tailoring shop in Ann Arbor. She's doing okay, but in general, things are way down. I mean, overall, she's got a good niche going with something she's working on, so it's working out okay, but it's not by any means a profitable time for her at all. It's very difficult for her to keep going. When I got laid off, I had to pay, in order to have insurance, I paid COBRA, which was $950 a month for a year and a half, and I just missed the window where the people got a discount, so I had to pay the full amount. And now I have a policy that's $550 a month for my wife and I, and there's a $10,000 deductible and no co-pays. So it's only in case something terrible happens, we would then have an emergency policy, and that's $6,500 a year for that. So it's a real issue. It's been very, very difficult. I have some unpaid medical bills that are a problem. All in all, we're just now getting by. We had not been collecting on Social Security, but once the unemployment runs out, then things look very desperate indeed. Quite frankly, it doesn't look good. I don't know what we'll do. Something. This is a rental home. We were essentially caretakers on a farm. This is a farm, and we were caretakers on a neighboring farm for 26 years, and the rent never went up from the day we moved in. It was really that kind of a deal. It wasn't really rent. It was more like looking after the house. So now we're here. We love the owners, and it's a beautiful place, but it makes it even more like desperate about, how are we going to stay here, so. I mean, I look all the time. I'm also looking into entrepreneurial possibilities and talking to friends of mine to see if I can partner up with someone and do something original and new. And the employment opportunity situation just isn't working out at all. I mean, can't even get an interview, and I haven't had one. I've considered relocating. I would rather not, and she would very much rather not, in that her mother, who's older, obviously, is in Michigan and has had many health issues. I've been trying to figure out why this kind of perfect storm of economy and then older people not being employed is happening. And I start to sound really waspish and bitter about self-centered young people who are only concerned about money. And it's part of that's probably true. There's a certain sense when you're young that you don't want older people around because they remind you of your own mortality, and they're stupid and they're slow and they're all the other things that young people think old people are. Seem to be a lot of boomers who have so much money that they never have to bother doing anything at all in spite of the economy. That just doesn't seem to make any difference. On the other hand, there are a whole lot of them who are looking at either a life of despair, and I just refuse to put up with that, or having to do something really creative and shape changing in order to make it. Oh, I'm afraid often, I guess. I mean, it doesn't do any good to get scared. Fear is the mind killer. So it's better to just persevere. But yeah, sure, it can be frightening. The insurance and the health part of it to me is very scary. A friend of mine died not long ago because he didn't have health insurance, and he wound up in an ICU, and they took his house for that. And then when he needed a wound management clinic, they wouldn't admit him because he didn't have any money, and he went home and the infection was so bad that he died from a heart attack at my age.